Now, when we start thinking about those servant leadership principles and those 12 characteristics, there's 7 unifying principles in a culture that really form the red thread that needs to wind its way through all of your training, your policies, and your systems. Think about literally, it's the red thread, which goes back to an old Chinese proverb, which I won't take the time for right now, but it's the red thread that binds together everything. See, one of the challenges we've got from a cultural standpoint or a value system standpoint, we are recruiting people in a way designed to produce apples. We are interviewing people in a way to produce oranges. We are onboarding people in a way to produce bananas. We are promoting people in a way to produce pears. So what happens is we end up with fruit cocktail. You remember fruit cocktail from 6th grade? Nothing really very definable, is it, except for the cherry. And it didn't really taste like a cherry, but at least it looked like something you knew what it was. See, that's what our organizational systems do because we don't think about a system of systems and we don't think about how culture needs to drive the practical operational implications of our systems. Now, when we start thinking about those servant leadership principles and those 12 characteristics, there's 7 unifying principles in a culture that really form the red thread that needs to wind its way through all of your training, your policies, and your systems. But these 7 unifying principles treat everyone with dignity and respect in every interaction. Now, here is a news alert in our current environment. Treating people with dignity and respect just because they are fellow human beings is not political correctness. Okay? Treat people with dignity and respect in every interaction. That's your first red thread. The second one, select team members who strive for professional excellence in every responsibility. Some of you in here remember the Dallas Cowboys when they were a real football team. Growing up with Tom Landry, he went to multiple Super Bowls. And what happened was that I remember as a kid, the team that took him to the Super Bowl was significantly comprised of players that had never played football in college. He had a soccer player, he had a track star, he had a rodeo star, had a basketball player. He had players, and Landry's philosophy is that I can teach them the skills, but I can't teach them to be a great athlete. That's what this is really about. You can hire somebody with the technical skills to do almost anything, but you can't teach them to hunger for excellence in everything they do. Next is prepare for the future by developing and empowering leaders at every level. And a sidebar comment, I believe it's about leadership at every level. It's different depending on the particular level and context, but it's about leadership at every level. But we don't invest in developing and empowering leaders. We invest in developing people who can fill out a form or who can read a meter. And those skills are needed, but we don't invest in the stuff that's actually going to determine our destiny. Number 4 is prepare people before you promote them. Well, duh. We tend to promote people based on how good they are at doing their current job, with very little attention to are they really prepared to do the job we're hiring them to do. And the higher you go in the organization, Every step of the way, the higher you go in the organization, the more the skills that are required are soft skills and people skills and leadership skills, not technical skills. But we tend to promote people based on technical skills. We've got to rethink how we're promoting people. This is so obvious and yet so radical. Prepare people before you promote them. Seek continuous improvement personally and operationally. Let's just be honest, in local government, we spend a lot of time measuring stuff that nobody cares about. We devote a lot of resources to measuring stuff that's meaningless and that is not actionable, and we never do anything with it. We've got to learn how to measure better, and we've got to learn how to measure the stuff that really matters so that we can constantly improve. The reality is there is almost no meaningful benchmark from city to city because there's too many variables. But we devote huge resources to doing benchmarks with other cities that have no meaning. The single most significant measurement of benchmarks, of performance benchmarks, is measuring yourself against yourself. Number 6 is make integrity matter the most in every circumstance. One of the great losses in city management over the last couple of decades is we've become afraid to be fired. We've got to resurrect the sense of reformational passion of making a difference that's not afraid to be fired for the right reasons. The more we are afraid to be fired, the more we hunker down and back away from true excellence. We've really got to recapture that. And remember that it's not just about now, it's not just about me, and it never is. It's not about me, it's not about now, and it never is.